Namaste Galactic family, welcome back to my channel Indigo Angel. Don't forget to hit the notifications bell to continue to receive my updates. And as always, thank you for your continued love and support. I have a star seed energy update today that I am calling the Avian Lineage powered Trinity, the Summer Triangle. This is a really big update for you guys. Today, this is for the partial lunar eclipse, the full moon in Capricorn on July 16th, 2019. I believe that is this Tuesday. And you will have to forgive some of the background noise. I do have a really busy street outside of my apartment, so a lot of times you'll just hear traffic going by, and I can't stop that. And I want to leave my door open outside, so yes. So welcome to this energy update. I have my sage that I lit that seems to keep burning out, but it was to basically have some clearing energy to this full moon. A lot of us are going through a lot of illumination of full moon energy right now. I have to say this is a fairly harmonious full moon. Not a lot coming up to clear as far as dualistic attachments or entity attachments, things of that nature. So I'm feeling really good about keeping the vibration high, keeping particle rotations high, keeping high electricity in the body. I'm staying very connected to that ascended state. So I hope that all of you are aligning to that within yourself as well. That is what ultimately is going to keep us anchored to those higher timelines, to anchor in the future aspects on a much faster planetary time acceleration. So that's what's awesome about it. But yes, I don't even really feel like I can fully express to you guys the complexity of the capacity of the alignments right now. There's a lot that is activating within the grids. As you see, again, I have my Halls of Amenti planetary interface gate map and tandem grid keys. This is a map of all of the sacred 12 Earth Stargate axis points. These are the 12 planetary Arc of the Covenant Stargate axis points, vertical tonal lines, horizontal ley lines, the 7 Jehovian seals, the 11 Michael and Mary turnstiles. There's just all of the wormholes, all of the Nibirian crystal temple bases and all of those things. So this is kind of like a guide. Does this have every sacred site on it? No, it doesn't. And does it have every activation point on the planet? It doesn't. It has what has been mostly channeled according to the Guardian Consciousness, according to these primary universal Stargate Templar systems that would be an entire celestial Cathara according to the 12 major founder races and lineages of the ultra-terrestrial communities, councils, and higher dimensional light beings and things of that nature, which are all an aspect of us, all an aspect of our higher dimensional psyche as it integrates and projects, reflects, and absorbs into the actual consciousness awareness for us to then label them on a Cathara grid, to bring them forth in a physical manifestation, to anchor in guardian consciousness, galactic consciousness, cosmic consciousness, all of those aspects of the extraterrestrial or galactic realms that we come to embody as we activate to our 12th dimensional original angelic human blueprint according to the Emerald Covenant. So yes, that is a mouthful, I know, but just know that these are all just platforms of perception that one can tune into to open the gateway to understanding more of their cosmic identity and how we are connected to the grid points on the planet, and how those grid points are then the foundational aspects to our human manifestation templates, which is the base radial template that all manifestation comes to fruition. So everything is through these Cathara templates that a lot of us that are not ascended or going through ascension may not be that aware of. A lot of this is happening on an unconscious level. But as we tune into these quantum multidimensional, interdimensional aspects of ourselves, we come to this awareness, and so it can be pretty mind-blowing. But it all aligns. Our human manifestation templates align to the planetary heart chakras, you know, the tonal lines, the horizontal ley lines, all of the crystal seals, Jehovah's seals, all of these points on the grid do align to an aspect in the body. And I know that is a video that some of you are wanting me to make at some point. So I am thinking about that and working on that. It's just that there's so much that's happening on a radial light perception within one's capacity to actually anchor that in, to express to all of you what's kind of happening. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm going to do my best to let you guys know where we are at, because what we are absorbing, integrating, transmitting, reflecting right now has everything to do with a lot of deep, hidden, and covered up truths, major suppressed knowledge down to the cradle of human civilization. And a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today are highly controversial. I'm just giving you a disclaimer, a fair warning that you may not agree with the perceptions that I present to you, the origins, the human origins that I bring forth, as many of you have heard things from many different sources about where the human origins actually have come from. Some of you feel it's from Asia. Many of you feel that the original seedings were from the Pleiadians in Lemuria. And the location of Lemuria has been very controversial as well. Some of you say Hawaii, some of you say Australia. I personally feel it's Australia. And then there's also a lot of controversy around who seeded the first seeding in Atlantis. So I'm actually going to get into some of that today as well. I do feel that the first major civilizations were part of a quadrant and a cross activation, which I do feel is probably the most center as far as land mass can be concerned. And that all lines on the 30-degree north marker, and the 30-degree east, 30-degree south, 30-degree west marker. And it comes to meet here on this major vertical axial tonal line here, right here. So this 30-degree marker seems to be where all of the magic went down for human origins, human consciousness, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get into that. So I do feel that this location here on the planet, and what I'm pointing to here, is going to be a cross-hatched grid, or a cross that lines to the northern cross of Cygnus. And this will be the location of Göbekli Tepe, Abadan, Iran, Mecca, Saudi Arabia, or Islam, Mecca, Islam, it's the holy city in Islam, and Giza, Egypt. And one thing that I realized that I'm going to get into a little bit later is that if you draw a line here, it forms a cross. I do feel that this area here was where the first seeding of Atlantis took place, and that this was the where, I guess you could say, human agriculture first began. I feel that's why this is heavily connected to this Bermuda location here, but I'm also going to get into that a little bit deeper into this energy update for you guys. So essentially this area here, though, is the alignment to what I feel are the true celestial crucifixion alignments, the true celestial gates of heaven, like I said, the possible true location of the first seeding of Atlantis, and how these connections are all aligned on that 30-degree marker on the planet that aligns to the Bermuda Triangle. These are crystal generator stations called Earth Stargate Access Points and Planetary Arc of the Covenant Stargates, which in my last video I did go over these quite a bit, all of my last energy updates. I went over all of the 12 heart chakra grid points on the planet. So if you want to go check out those videos, I will leave the link above. I believe that was my Lyra Aramentania Cathara grid video, that was my Orion Grid Wars video, and then also the most recent Starseed energy update that was titled Announcement. I do go into the checkerboard mutations, so if you want to go check out that video, which is highly important, it's basically a frequency fence of checker grids that overlap the entire planetary face grid. These are causing a lot of distortions in these sexual gender mutations. There's a lot that goes into that. So go check out that checker mutation video. Just if you get annoyed with the part where I'm talking about all of my announcements and stuff, just fast forward it to about like 10 minutes in the video, and then I'll get into that detailed information. But I honestly feel that the Bermuda, with these wormholes here and these Jehovian seals, are kind of a distraction tactic to the true original activation points right here in, I believe it's Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, which I'm going to tell you more about. And if you purchase this map from Ashiana's website, just know that Göbekli Tepe and Mecca Islam are not on the map. So I don't know if you all can see that, but I did go in and add these two to the grid, to the map, as I feel that they are also sacred sites that are actually activating right now through our planetary alignment. So they should be on this map. I highly recommend putting them on the map if you have this map, so that way you can kind of follow along with the activations in the Stargates that they're aligned to. And for those of you who don't know how I pick up on these messages, I just want to explain briefly, really quick here, is I will actually hear clairaudiently, clairvoyantly, Stargates dialing. I basically receive a Kalantic electronic data streaming and a direct imprint transmission of specific Stargates, usually weeks before we come into the alignments with them, kind of like, you know, the names of the stars will come through my consciousness almost in like one heartbeat. It's almost like the celestial download actually just comes through my heart portal. And I'll just basically receive the word, and then I have to spend my time looking into the vision that I see and hear, because it will just keep presenting in everything that I do until I figure out what it is that it's trying to tell me. So I'll actually align to, you know, individuals that are carrying the direct markers in Starseed origin readings and their charts. A gal I aligned to recently to basically confirm that I'm in the right alignment was I came upon a girl a couple days ago who had Cygnus in her north node after I had been receiving all kinds of Cygnus information prior to that. I then aligned to her within the north node, and I had also been receiving messages about aligning to the north as well, and then I aligned to her chart. So it's kind of just continuous confirmation, letting me know that I am on the I'm in alignment to what my consciousness is showing me. And I apologize for the shadow today. Basically, my lighting isn't very good right now, so I hope you all can bear with me on that. But yes, the energy and the momentum and the acceleration into the direction becomes very profound. It becomes very powerful, and it literally becomes my waking reality until I deliver these messages to you guys. So please just know that I am doing my best to share these celestial Akashic messages with you. And I appreciate everyone who gets my kind of crazy, if you know what I mean. So having that said, we are flowing through the most notable alignments, which are Sirius. Sirius is activating the Mother Arc activations in Ayers Rock, Australia. So this would be here. This is considered the main planetary arc of the Covenant Stargate. This is considered to carry the aquamarine ray, which is that 13-dimensional, 13 density mother ray. Okay, so, and this is another reason why I believe that the origins of humanity truly come from Australia. As far as the migration, Now, I do feel, based off things that I've read, say that the true origin is actually out of Africa, and that it was a disbursement or a migrant wave 72,000 years ago. Then 31,000 years later, there was genetic isolation that happened in Australia and New Guinea. So from there, I believe this is where this Pleiadian, Lemurian seeding took place. I do kind of agree with the Pleiadians being the primary seeding in the Lemurian civilization, in the Lemurian root race. But like I said, I think that all of this on some level is speculative. It is controversial. I think the only thing though that's really going to matter is that you look at the information that's being presented from multiple resources, and then you follow your own intuition in your own heart. You know, look at what's presented and then listen to your spirit. If you align and connect in a way that moves you deeply inside, then there's probably truth there. And it doesn't matter the labels or the degrees or the qualification that many, and I'm saying many, will attempt, okay, to trump or bully the unaccredited claims. There is a reason mainstream science is still teaching our youth the wrong history, and even college degree universities are tainting these truths. So just know that what I'm presenting to you is what I'm aligning to on a soul level, what guardian consciousness is guiding me to talk about. And it's also why some of my videos are being targeted to a point that they're not showing up on search feeds on YouTube and things of that nature. So it's because I'm getting close to the truth, and there's people out there that will do anything to prevent the truth getting out there, just because they're triggered, because they don't feel that's what it is, just because they don't align to it on a soul level. So if you align to me on a soul level, then just know that we are an acceleration of these grid points. We are an acceleration of this anchor point, this waypoint, this grid point, and we are standing in the Christed frequency. We are standing in the Christic, Crystalla, primal light and sound tones and vibration and light, sound, all of the ways that the higher dimensionals and the ether dimensionals and the interdimensionals and all of the higher planetary noospheric consciousness is communicating with us. So yes, I just appreciate you all hanging in there with me. I appreciate you all supporting me and really just sharing this information, really getting this information out. This information is really important for grid keeping and gatekeeping. So having all of that said, we are flowing through the most notatable alignments, which are Sirius. Like I said, Sirius is activating the Mother Arc, Ayers Rock, Australia, and then we are activating to the body of Hydra. So we will start to align to Spica at the tail end of Hydra, and then we'll also be coming upon the Lion's Gate August 8th. So these are the most notatable alignments because they are in the solar rising aspects in the southern hemisphere. But what we don't tend to focus on are the solar celestial setting alignments, the deeper hidden lesser known stargates in the northern hemisphere. And those are the 180 degree influences to these specific rising activations. So as you guys know, we are never just in one celestial influence. We are essentially harmonizing with several activated gates simultaneously. Several grid sites on the planet are activating interdimensionally, and thus in the human physical manifestation templates as well, which can be identified through the Cathara grids. And I have been getting overwhelming messages over the last week or so to pay attention to the north. Like, my guides have been like, move your bed to the north, sleep to the north, meditate to the north, manifest and activate to the north, because right now we are 100% aligned to that Northern Cross. We are aligned to the Cygnus. We are aligned to the Deneb. And in the Northern Hemisphere, we're actually activating to what I am calling the Avian Lineage Power Trinity. Now, I have this theory that this Avian Lineage Power Trinity basically activate these 3 gates here, kind of like an arrow, okay? And this activates this entire grid line, or this entire axial vertical tonal line, okay? And I feel like this is the generator to the Bermuda. So the Avian Lineage Power Trinity is Altair, which is the brightest star in Aquila the eagle, Deneb, which is the brightest star in the head of Cygnus, the Swan, and Vega, which is the brightest star in Lyra, the Vulture, which is considered the Stymphalian birds. These are all parans of Sagittarius and the beginning markers of Capricorn. The 3 stars activate what is called the summer triangle. This is the energy that accelerates the gamma or quantum through the lion's gate. What's interesting is each one of these stars were once a guiding pole star over the last 16,000 years. So Aquila, Vega, and Deneb were all once pole stars. So because of planetary precessions and pole shifts, that has changed, and now it is Polaris. But at some point, each one of those stars were once the true north. So each one had a profound influence as to the seeding of consciousness into the planet, into the Planetary Race Morphogenetic Field, or the Spheres of Amenti. And each one is an aspect of our creation story and civilizational influential beliefs. Most of us look at Lyra and Vega star to be the oldest souls seeded into the planet. Lyra taking the credit for the first seeding of Atlantis. So Lyra is actually associated as the mother origin of all races. So if you are a Lyran starseed, you essentially carry the seeding that is the supporting energy to all other race lineages on the planet. It basically represents the highest density that one can attain in ascension and expansion contraction. But I do strongly feel that it's actually a trifecta of the Stymphalian birds, that it's a trinity, it's a mother trinity. And the mother trinity would be Vega, Deneb, and Altair. And this would be the true founding lineage to all race soul genetics seated in Atlantis. Now I know some of you, like I said, are going to say, no, the Pleiadians were the first seeding from Lemuria. And that seeding, like I said, happened in Australia, in the Aboriginal Australians. And I do feel that that's true. But like I said, I just think that it's more complex, it's deeper, and these lineages are way more than we actually realize and limit ourselves to in the starseed community. Because, I mean, if we really start to incorporate the possibility that the founder race lineages are an avian trifecta, that's going to basically rewrite all starseed books ever written. There's a lot that goes into all that. So, like I said, as we come upon the Lion's Gate, which I believe activates the Giza, Egypt grid point, because if you look at the Sphinx, it's technically a lion. It's basically generated photogenically by cosmic radial light particles and Trinity wave infusions of the electromagnetic gravitons. And it's actually activating, like I said before, the cross on the planet. So this is actually a cross within a cross. So once I put Göbekli Tepe and Mecca Islam on here, and then I actually drew a dotted line here connecting them and making a cross, because that's exactly what they, once you put those sacred sites on there, that's what they present. They present a cross. This is a cross within a cross, so, or a cross that essentially lines to the crucifixion cross, the celestial crucifixion alignment of Cygnus. So Deneb, which is the head in Cygnus, the Swan, or should I say is the northern cross, it's the first cross that I'm talking about. It's oriented to the north, and it's literally in the shape of a cross, disguised as a beautiful swan. So I had no idea about this until I started looking into this, that the swan basically covers the celestial crucifixion cross. And, you know, some Egypt astrology says that the actual pyramids truly align to Cygnus. The Mayans say that Cygnus sits at the top of the cosmic tree. The Hindu temples were all built to align to Cygnus's northern aspect. But Cygnus is essentially the only constellation that lies in the heart of the nanodiamonds of the Milky Way. So it is the heart of the junction in the Milky Way, inside this magical pathway. It's considered the road or the river to the stars and to the afterlife or the heavens. Previous civilizations believed it's the actual gateway to heaven, that Deneb is the actual gate to enter heaven. So that would mean that heaven aligns to the north. So I think this is why, like, I've been getting so much information that I need to sleep to the north, that I need to meditate, I need to pray to the north, is you're actually praying to the gate within the diamond Milky Way. All I know is if I'm dying, you better put me in a bed to the north. You know what I mean? Because when I'm on my deathbed, I'm gonna make them turn that bed to the north. That's all I have to say. If you want to learn deeper about this, please read about the Cygnus mystery by Andrew Collins. So this is where I'm getting a lot of this information too, as I've been reading about the Cygnus mystery. But I feel it has to do deeply with, like I said, with the crucifixion of Christ as well. So this could potentially be the crucifixion celestial alignment. And I was trying to look up the direction that Christ was crucified, but I could not find anything that would make me feel like this was true. But if any of you have any information about the direction that Christ was crucified, if it's north, I'm about to fall out of this chair, because that would mean that Cygnus represents the actual cross that Christ died upon. And I feel that Aquila would have carried his soul to the heavens. But not a lot of people know about Cygnus. It's another lesser known stargate. Okay, so it's interesting. Every single time I start to crack open the gate to these lesser known stargates, I find the richest, most deepest divinity that I could possibly find. Like, even just aligning to Hydra, which we are still majorly going through Hydra activations right now. I opened up this platform of consciousness to basically integrate and understand these deeper serpent lineages, which I feel Hydra is the true celestial origin to all of these serpent lineages on planet Earth. And it just blows me away, this information that is not really being tuned into on a starseed collective level. If you look at the information that people are really putting out right now, I mean, they're not even touching on this stuff that holds the vastness of everything that we are. Really, our divinity is so deeply, deeply rooted in these lesser known stargates. It's kind of like they're just forgotten about and covered up, just like these civilizations, that there's so much history rooted into the connection of these celestial alignments that we are now really shifting through on a collective level. And that's what these activations are about, is aligning us deeper and deeper to our divinity. So that way we can experience our eternal nature. So we can experience the Akashic records of the planetary memories of the race morphogenetic field. That is what the race morphogenetic field is the ability to access all planetary memory. And as we ascend, and as we clear density inside, and as we align to this radial light inside of ourselves, we essentially attune to these aspects within ourselves. So like I said, as you look deeper into Cygnus, you're going to find out more about the true human origins and civilizations. essentially Cygnus is pulling you into the awareness of the cradle of human civilization. So at this time, 12,000 years ago, Cygnus, like I said, was in fact the true pole star that they were guided to build all of these temples in accordance to in Göbekli Tepe. And if you don't know what Göbekli Tepe is, it's essentially, so Göbekli Tepe was recently discovered in 1995. It's this the oldest sacred megalithic site on planet Earth, and it has been covered up and defunded by the Turkey government. And this is what I mean when I say suppressed knowledge and covered up truths, because they say only 5% of Göbekli Tepe has been excavated, and it stopped being excavated intentionally. So who really knows what we would learn about our true origins in human existence if this site was allowed to be studied? If we could excavate this site and uncover its mysteries and lost ancient technologies, it would most likely completely rewrite our entire history. And maybe that's what everyone is afraid of. I don't know, but it would mean that all these starseed books that say Lyra is the mother of all seeded origins, those would change, and that I know for sure. I was even looking into some of Oceana's books, like the Voyagers, and I was looking for mentions of Göbekli Tepe, and there was no mention of it even as a sacred site. So I'm wondering if she knew about it and just chose not to put it in, because I would think surely the Guardians would have been relaying this information on some level. But Göbekli Tepe, this sacred site, may in fact be the true location of the first seeding of Atlantis, where the original Aboriginal Australians established the first civilization of human agriculture. So like I said, everyone within the starseed community is going to say, no, it's Lyra, but if you look at the celestial alignments of Lyra on the Cathar grid, if you even just look at the alignments of the summer triangle and you look at the positions of Lyra, you look at the positions of Aquila and Altair, and then you look at Cygnus, it is so remotely, redundantly clear how impeccably profound the perception of Cygnus is. It completely illuminates the center path of the Milky Way. It trumps and triumphs the other two origins. It is the shining star in the summer triangle. So like I said, if you look at the celestial alignment of Lyra on the Cathara grid, so here is my primary universal stargates of Universal Templar. Okay, this is according to Guardian Consciousness. This is according to the actual grid points on the planet as well. 10, 11, and 12th density are all ruled by Vega Lyra. Now that I'm really thinking about that, what I think this is, I think that the summer triangle rules the top part. I think that the 12th density is Deneb. I think that the 11th density is Altair, and I think that 10th density is Lyra. I feel that the summer triangle is the generators of the highest densities, as I feel this was the true passageway to seeding the first, like I said, seeding of Atlantis into the planet. So this triangle at the top is aligning to this triangle on the grid map. Aldebaran, Iran, Göbekli Tepe, and Mecca, Islam. Why is Mecca, Islam important? Well, it's the most sacred city in Islam. The story goes that God formed Adam in Mecca, Islam. So they say that Mecca is the birthplace of Adam and Eve. This holy city is basically where the Jews and the Islams state that Adam and Eve essentially came from. And you know, there's a lot that happened in the Adam and Eve creation story, places that they went, places that they actually separated, they had children and they seeded with other people, and then they actually came back to Mecca at some point. The details of this story, I really don't care to get into that deeply, but I do have some links if y'all are interested in learning more about that. Now, this is also a very controversial thing as well. There will be historians and archaeologists and blah, blah, blah that will say that no, that the true origin is Petra and Jordan. But I just feel in my heart that it is Mecca. I've been also getting and receiving a lot of transmissions over the last week that has been guiding me to Mecca as well. I feel that I've actually been communicating with the King of Solomon himself as far as downloads, and I've just been really picking up on that Mecca would be the actual location of Adam and Eve. I mean, take it for whatever it's worth. Do with it what you please, but this is just what I'm picking up on for now, and I wanted to share that with you guys. But yes, so having that said, I do feel that Göbekli Tepe, Mecca Islam, Abadan Iran form the summer triangle alignment within this quadrant of where I feel the first seeding of Atlantis took place. And you can also think of it in terms of the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So Altair, Deneb, and Aquila may be the true celestial influences to all three of those Abrahamic religions. I would say that Altair would be Christianity, Vega or Lyra would be Judaism, and Deneb would be Islam. If I had to just guess which ones they would be according to vibration, according to what I know the celestial radio light signatures represent, that's what I would feel would be the most celestial alignment to those religions. So like I said, Deneb Cygnus would be activating the sacred site Göbekli Tepe. Lyra is activating the eastern stargate to the sacred site Abadan, Iran. And Aquila would be activating the southern location, Sacred Gate, the holiest city in Islam, Mecca, forming the trifecta, the three alignments, activating the Lion's Gate, which would be the fourth site in Giza. This is the, when you draw a line, they basically draw that cross. And I feel that this is the most active grid point that is activated by Ayers Rock, Australia. And then it activates this whole 30-degree line. I feel like this is what generates the power generators or the crystal generators in the Bermuda that are connected to the Atlantis. So I'm being shown that these four sites are the anchors to the cradle of human civilization and act as an activation within myself. That really just continually blows my mind every time I think about this. I literally just sat here for like an hour, just still taking it all in, because when you follow the 30-degree axial tonal line over and hit the Bermuda, it's connecting this underground crystal vortex as a generator to the Holy Land and to Adam and Eve, all of it. And then you'll also notice that all of the 12 planetary arc of the Covenant Stargates and 12 Earth Stargate axis lines, most of them ride this line. Most of them ride this 30-degree point. They do venture off a little bit up here and a little bit down here, but for the most part, they're right on this 30-degree line. The ones that I feel are the most predominant on the 30-degree marker would be Zion, China, and that would be the Orion Gate. Bamso, Tibet. Bamso, Helio, Tibet. That would be Andromeda. Like I said, Abadan, Iran is Lyra. Giza is going to be Egypt. Bermuda is considered Earth. Okay. Sarasota, Florida is considered inner Earth. So that entire 30-degree axial tonal line activates, essentially, especially right now. Right now, as we come into the alignment of the enunciation of Christed consciousness, that's essentially what we're coming into, is we're going through the enunciation of Christed consciousness, and it's this activation. A lot of you will probably be aligning to Archangel Gabriel right now. There's a lot of Archangel Gabriel activations right now, as he is the angel that enunciates the birth of Christ. So many of you may be connecting with this angel, connecting with the blue ray and the emerald ray. So I hope that you all liked my Cygnus video that I just put out. I felt that it was pretty fitting for all of the activations that we're going through. For the Cygnus origin, Cygnus starseed called a Cygnasium. So many of you may have Cygnus in the chart, and this would really align one to the cosmic egg. So I keep thinking about the story of Mother Goose. I keep thinking about when I was young. That was actually one of the main nursery rhymes that actually stuck with me as a child, was the nursery rhyme of Mother Goose. And it's all just kind of like coming back to me from childhood, like the Mother Goose story was true. This is the true cradle of human civilization, is within that world egg. And in Hindu belief systems, that would be the honoring of Krishna, so the god of intelligence and aggression. And I really feel that the swan actually really does illuminate our human nature. For one, as humans, we are always trying to anchor in our best, most influential aspect of our intelligence to be moving forward as far as human agriculture, human evolution, things of that nature. But then we also have this really hostile aspect to our nature, which is that we will do whatever it has to take to survive. We will do whatever it has to take to secure our foundation, to secure our life, even if that's sometimes taking, raping, and pillaging the earth to get what we feel that we need. And it doesn't make it right, but it is an aspect of human nature that we are very much rooted within the amino acids and the protein grail lines of our DNA and our genetics to be connected to aspects of ourselves that existed 12,000 years ago in the planetary Akashic records, that, we're still aligning to Cygnus. We are still aligning to the original mother, the original gateway of the northern Stargate. So there's just a lot that goes into all of this. I hope that you all enjoyed this message today. I'll just do a little clearing over my map. We're going to clear the grids. A lot of you ask me, what can we do to essentially help the grids? How can we be grid workers? How can we be gatekeepers? How can we be assisting the planet with holding these grids open in alignment to the true Christic spiral, in alignment to the true eternal nature of our rhythmic spiral quantum, and keep that energy structure open to our eternal nature? Like, how can we be doing this? And the answer is simply intention. It really doesn't matter what you do. It just matters if your heart beats for it or not. It matters if you care. It matters if you are willing to buy a map and put crystals on your map. Activate the sites. If you're not by a sacred site, well, set the intention to activate the sacred site. Write the sacred site down on a piece of paper and put crystals on it. Go outside and profess verbally out loud to the universe that you wish to hold open these gate sites for the true Christic spiral, eternal nature, primal light and sound orders of the original Emerald Covenant to essentially stand in that energy. You're holding the conviction for that energy. And to assist with clearing these distorted matrix systems and programs that are overlapping and overrunning all of these other systems that are trying to pull people into wormholes, that are trying to pull people into unnatural, energetic, finite systems that are consuming their energy. And it's really just important that we just hold the intention for these things to happen. I think that's the first step, is giving a shit and holding the intention. If you have those two things, it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we can do. Like we can run Maharic Seals, which is activating the Star of David, activating the Merkaba, and running that down your pillar of light, running that down your Shushamna, down into the center psychic body of Earth, and clearing that within yourself, because the more clear you keep your energy structures open to natural energy flows and systems that are not being fed upon by another system, the more impact, the more influence you're going to have. So keeping your energy structures clear and clean is first and foremost one of the most important things you can do. And then also just setting the intention and then caring. I think that's the most important thing. Of course, getting to these sacred sites is one of the most important things you can do. If you live close to a sacred site or an energy vortex, taking these intentions to those locations and performing sacred ceremony or ritual is going to be very impactful. So I suggest doing that if you can. If you can't, then like I said, get a map. Get one of these maps or create crystal grids within your home and set the intention for these energies to surpass and overcome all of the corruption that and distortions that exist within each one's gridding system, okay? Each one of you are a grid system. Each one of you are a ley line. Each one of you are a meridian line. Each one of you connect to every single point on the planet. So if you can't get to these points, just know that these points exist within your own physical body. You are doing grid work just by clearing your own chakras. You are doing grid work just by clearing your own meridian lines. You are doing the work just by doing the self-healing. That is first and foremost the most important thing that you can do. So I just want to say I love you guys so much. Just know that the full moon is really illuminating the summer triangle right now. That's what you are aligning to. If you're aligning to Avian, eagles, hawks, swans, doves. The swan and the dove are actually very similar in their mythology. They say that the dove is actually the descended form of the swan. Also, if you're aligning to vultures, if you're aligning to hawks, falcons, like I said, any of those birds, anything avian right now is basically carrying the most ascended aspect of your spirit. And so you can really work with that energy, attune to that energy, align to that energy to anchor in your highest vibration and to stay connected to the highest, most vibrational grid network systems on the planet. And that's what it's really about, okay? And as always, I'm losing my voice. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will be back soon with another message. And have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.